on a beautiful day today. This could be the missing link in all of the ancient reports of antiquity, the Watchers, the Nephilim, even the Vedas that are over 4,000 years old, discuss these fallen angels or what many think could be ancient astronauts, extraterrestrials. Some people say, well, why aren't they on Mars or on Venus or on Mercury? Well, hey, who knows? Maybe they are. But think about these opportunities. When you look at the actual planets that have been discovered outside of the Kuiper Belt, 3 of them are Earth-like. You can see the orbit periods, the distance to the star, which, by the way, is a brown dwarf star, not much larger than Jupiter. One of the interesting things is, I certainly don't follow the 3,600-year orbit that is discussed with Nibiru, yet I do think there might be a possibility of some of these ancient writings discussing this solar system that's outside of our solar system. And not necessarily merging, but a time in the orbital cycle where they get close enough to cause effects, physical effects. I don't think ELE events or anything, but certainly even Planet 9 that's outside of the Kuiper Belt, they have shown plenty of evidence that that's tilting the sun and causing not only Earth changes, but changes on other planets in our solar system. And there's a lot of talk about how the other planets in our solar system are also heating up. I don't know what's causing that. But look at these planets. And one of the things that I find fascinating is the TRAPPIST system here was actually discovered by a telescope that isn't really that big. It was discovered by the Planetesimals Small Telescope, acronym TRAPPIST, hence the name TRAPPIST-1 of the system. And it used a transit photometry, at the La Silla Observatory in Chile. On the 22nd February 2017, astronomers announced 4 additional exoplanets around the TRAPPIST-1 system. 3 of them are Earth-like. 3 of them. So wouldn't it make logical sense? Here you can see the star right here, the size of the star in conjunction to our sun. Wouldn't it make logical sense that if our planet has been visited from ancient astronauts, extraterrestrials, angels from the heavens, that they could have very well came from this system? Now, another thing that I found fascinating when reading this is there was talk about how these 3 planets are so close, there's a very good chance that the life on these 3 planets there's life that's the same on 3 of these planets, and they've just bounced off and forth, from natural events, etc. And then you read into it, and it just talks about how it's probably just microbiology that's done it. Nothing like us. I mean, no, we're just the center of the universe completely, and we're the only planet that has life like humans. I mean, talk about narcissistic. The size of the universe is so big, even outside of our solar system, there's 7 planets, with 3 of them Earth-like. But no, there's no way there could be humans out there. And even the Bible says in Genesis, we created man in our image. Well, maybe that means extraterrestrials, many of them, look like we do. And maybe us being extraterrestrials to them, maybe we look the same. I'm sure there could be other types of extraterrestrials too, like the mantis and the reptilian shapeshifter and the Greys. My old boss was abducted by little green men in Mexico. Not little gray men, but little green men in Mexico. And that guy's as serious as a heart attack. He's an atheist. He's got a lot of money. He's a multimillionaire. And he literally has a testimony that'll blow your mind about when he was younger in Mexico. Missing time, etc. I know people personally that have had lifelong experiences with abductions. You can classify it as whatever you want. They don't have any books to sell or any agendas to push. If anything, it will ostracize them because of the fantastic claims. So let's get into this. Look at this actual telescope here. Isn't this cool? Get an inside view here of what it actually looks like. There you go. That's pretty cool. Now, the book of Enoch, it talks about the Watchers. Angels dispatched to earth to watch over the human race. The Anunnaki, not just from Zechariah Sitchin, ladies and gentlemen. Anunnaki have been discussed in multiple texts of antiquity. The Nephilim, the coneheads, the elongated skulls. Now here's where it gets really fun. The Ramayana. This is book 6 of the Vedas. Talks about the struggle of the divine prince Rama to rescue his wife Sita from the Demon King Ravana, along with the Mahablatad. I said that wrong. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Now, here's what's fascinating. I've read through a lot of this, and there's wars of shape-shifting monkeys. And talk about a science fiction writer's wet dream. I mean, the information in the Vedas far surpass many of these science fiction movies of today. Just incredible. I mean, you could speculate nuclear war, electronic warfare, a heavily fortified building of mass proportions in the center of the ocean, surrounded by all different forms of protection. You know, flying machines, and the representation of many of these beings with multiple heads, etc. Some people can say, well, that's genetic engineering. Some people will say it's just symbology. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But the monkey people fighting each other and the shapeshifters and the sci-fi stuff is incredible. I would strongly recommend reading this, some of these Vedas, or just going through it, because it's very powerful. Matter of fact, I'm going to read some of this to you guys. Let me go through here. Okay. Indeed, I cannot perceive as such anyone other than Garuda, chief of the feathered race and vehicle of Lord Vishnu, wind god, and Hanuman, who can cross the mighty ocean. So a feathered race and vehicle of Lord Vishnu. That's interesting. The feathered race. Who's the feathered race? Now, what about the... Okay, here we go. Who is able to capture that citadel by assault that is exceedingly dangerous to be attacked and which is powerfully guarded by orgs, but one whose courage and valor are equal to Hanuman's. A great act of service has been done by Hanuman to Sugriva, thus by exhibiting its strength corresponding to his pace. Okay, here we go. The servant to whom his master entrusts a difficult task and whom performs it with zeal is said to be a superior person. Now, one is ready and capable, but who has yet to know more than his master extracts from him is called a mediocre person. Now, if he's well and does not carry out instructions of his master, though, he is the least of men. Well, here we go. How can these monkeys put together will reach the southern bank of the ocean, which is so difficult to cross and which contains voluminous water? How can these monkeys put together? That's the monkeys, man. Having received the tidings of Sita, what can now be done to take the monkeys to the farther side of the sea? How do you get those monkeys? How many monkeys does it take to get monkeys to the other side of the sea, ladies and gentlemen? I'm telling you, this stuff's pretty incredible. And you look at some of these statues and you think about many places in India where they treat animals like humans. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, did they have some kind of like mind control technology that they were able to control regular monkeys into warriors? Or did they do some type of genetic manipulation? Or is this all just incredible imagination? Look at that. Here's the monkey people fighting. Here's the monkey dudes. And they're pissed. It depicts the monkey army of protagonist Rama, top left, blue figure, fighting Ravana, the demon king of the Lanka, to save Rama's kidnapped wife. Huh. Shapeshifters. I told you. Shapeshifters, man. Shapeshifters and highly concentrated swamp gas. YouTube.com/clandestine Time Lord. Be the change you want to see and question everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rex Bear with Leak Project. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. This could be the missing link in all of the ancient reports of antiquity, the Watchers, the Nephilim, even the Vedas that are over 4,000 years old, discuss these fallen angels, or what many think could be ancient astronauts, extraterrestrials. Some people say, well, why aren't they on Mars or on Venus or on Mercury? Well, hey, who knows? Maybe they are. But think about these opportunities. When you look at the actual planets that have been discovered outside of the Kuiper Belt, 3 of them are Earth-like. You can see the orbit periods, the distance to the star, which, by the way, is a brown dwarf star, not much larger than Jupiter. One of the interesting things is, I certainly don't follow the 3,600-year orbit that is discussed with Nibiru. Yet I do think there might be a possibility of some of these ancient writings discussing this solar system that's outside of our solar system. And not necessarily merging, but a time in the orbital